Thank you, everybody, for joining us today in this trade pending live session. This is live right now. We're not using AI. This is real Matthew and real David and real Aaron. We're talking about getting inside your shoppers' minds today. We're going to be jumping into our technology and how you view that. So let's get going. Let's jump right in here. So it's me, the CMO here at Trade Pending. David with TradePending and Aaron, Lighthouse Website Management. We'll give you a moment to introduce yourself here in a second. Let's get through the logistics, which we can do pretty quickly and easily. We're recording this. We will share it out afterwards. If you have questions, just use the Q&A or the chat. I will field those. I'll moderate those for the folks. If we don't get to them or you don't want to ask them right now, just shoot me a note and we will answer them after the fact. If you haven't seen it yet, we've got a ton of educational, informative, and fun content, TradePending TV. Please check it out. Follow us there on the socials. It's a good time. We've also got Dealership Video Academy. It's a phenomenal resource for just elevating your game with using video in the dealership. And with that, David, Aaron, why don't you kick it off? I'm going to stop sharing. And while I'm doing that, Aaron, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us how you ended up here. And then, David, you take it after that and give the quick intro on yourself.
So my name's Erin Langston. I am a website consultant and I work with a lot of dealers here on the southeast coast of America. And I've been an independent consultant for 15 years now. TradePending is one of the products that I started working with years and years ago and have stuck with it because of the results that it drives for my clients. They all love it. And that's why I'm here today to talk about some of the experiences I've had with those dealerships and the experiences that they've had.
David, how'd you end up in automotive?
Well, I grew up in automotive. My father's 83 years old. He's still out there buying and selling cars today. But several years ago, I ended up as a marketing director of a 9-store group down here in South Florida. And TradePending came knocking on my door and sold me the product, sold me the trade tool, Snap as it was called back then. And I loved it, became real good friends with my rep. And one day he called me up and said, "Hey, David, I'm getting promoted, and that's going to open up the Florida territory. Do you want to?" And he didn't even have to finish the sentence. I said, "Absolutely." And before you know it, I got hired. That was 5 years ago. And I'm currently working with over 600 dealers throughout the United States and Canada. And really glad to be here and love helping my dealers on a daily basis.
Thank you, David. So I'll tee it up here a little bit best I can, but we've got it's really not that new technology, but a really wonderful way to peek inside the minds of shoppers without actually looking inside their minds. And David, thank you for graciously volunteering yourself, and Aaron as well for saying like, yep, here's how we actually use this. Here's how we actually see it. And from Aaron, your side, here's how I'm actually talking to dealers about it as well. So David, over to you.
Sure, sounds good. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen here as well. First time on Zoom here, so hopefully I'll figure this out. Just kidding. And you should be able to see my screen right now. Yes.
There we go.
Beautiful. Well, as it says here, let's check this out. Our team has been very, very hard at work developing a new dashboard, a new console, as they like to call it. And there's a new feature on here that you'll see that talks about vehicle views. And you got to make sure as a TradePending user that you've got this set up here. So very simple. Go right on up here to where it says columns. Click on that little button that says vehicle views. And now you're going to be able to see that. You'll be able to go ahead and drag that over right to where you want it to be. You'll grab those six little dots and bring it right over here to where you can see it. But that's going to be this column right down the middle here. So what are we talking about here? When we click on vehicle views, or we see a customer who's got a lot of vehicle views, whether it's 1, 3, 5, 10, doesn't matter. You're going to come onto this page after you click the customers, and you click on insights right here. And now here comes the beautiful part. I can look at this person right away, and as you can see, we blocked out the names here to protect the innocent. But we know that this person has looked at one white car, one red car, one blue car. Very patriotic person. But everything that he's looked at here has been a sedan. We come down a little bit further and we see this guy's looked at 3 different 22 Honda Civics. 2 of them were sports, 1 was an EX. So what can we determine about this guy? Well, clearly he wants to buy a Civic. And again, well, what's fun about this, Matthew and Aaron, and everyone watching, we didn't have a form that says, what vehicle are you interested in? And then the person typed in, I want a 25, whatever. Then you might not even have on your lot. What we're doing instead is we're simply following them on their journey through your website, and we can see everything that they're looking at. And once you know what your shoppers are looking for, Aaron, tell me, but doesn't it make it easier to sell that person a car if you know he's looking at a used Civic? Aaron?
100%.
Absolutely.
That was a good layup there, David. Let's see. Throw some more.
I love throwing up softballs and rhetorical questions. It's a beautiful thing. Let's take a look at what else we can see here. We know that this customer wants to spend less than 25 grand probably right there, mid-20s, because again, that's the units that he has chosen to look at those VDPs on your website. We'll keep on going. Does he want a new car? Absolutely not. The guy wants a car with moderate amount of miles on it. So now you know exactly what he's thinking here. Let's see if this, no, before we go on to the next guy, what are you going to do with this customer? Right? What are you going to start sending them? You could send them the day 1, day 3, day 5, day 7 emails, or maybe you go find some information about the 22 Honda Civic. Maybe there's a great YouTube video. Maybe there's some collateral that came out from Honda about the 22 Civic. But start putting something in front of this customer that is of interest to him. And let me stop and tell a quick story here. If you go to Google and you type in Nike men's running shoes, white size 10, I guarantee you Google doesn't call you, Amazon doesn't call you, Nike doesn't call you and says, hey, thanks so much for doing that search. But when you go back on Facebook or Instagram or X or wherever else you might be, you start seeing those little ads for those Nike men's running shoes in white size 10. So if I'm this dealer, why not start serving up that same kind of information and putting information about 22 Honda Civics in front of this customer? I saw something in the chat there. Go ahead, Matthew.
Yeah, I want to ask Aaron a question here. So I know that you're coaching your clients on just how to handle leads, how to handle follow-up. And this is, as David's hinting at, it's not the 1, 3, 5, 7 cadence emails. How do you think about coaching your clients to see the value in it, which is pretty easy to see, but then to actually do it and to use it?
Yeah, you see a tremendous difference in the closing rate. The tool works very well by itself. So generally speaking, it has a great closing rate. But when the dealers actually have their BDC or their inner salespeople utilize this information, it makes those conversations much easier. Those things can happen faster and they can move on to the next opportunity.
Wonderful. Thank you. We do have a question here. I'll just answer that real quick. Sam's asking, is there a way to rebrand CTA and landing page on dealership and trade pending logos? There can be. Sam, we'll reach out to you afterwards. Thank you for that one.
Great stuff. All right, let's keep on going. Let's take a look at another customer here and see what this person's all about. Again, name has been blocked out there, but we look here. This person will buy any color of the rainbow. But when you dive in a little bit deeper, black, gray, dark gray, white, don't show this person a red car, a yellow car, a green car. He likes those earth tones. He likes those neutral tones. And look at this. Every single unit he's looked at has been an SUV. The guy wants to buy a white, a gray, a black SUV, no doubt. Come down here a little bit further, and we can see this guy is all about the CRVs, but he did kind of sneak a peek at a Pilot over there. But what I really like looking at is over here, the visits. He looked at each one of these units once, but he keeps coming back to this CRV right here. And then you take it a step further, and we can see that he started looking at all these a day ago, but came back to this one 19 hours ago. I was just on with the client before this call, and we saw one who had looked at something 5 days ago, and then most recently 10 minutes ago. While we were talking, the 10 changed to an 11, then a 12. We were going to keep you up to the minute with what your shoppers are doing on your website. So now comes the question, well, David, this is a whole other dashboard here, a whole other console. I like my work being done in the CRM. And Aaron, you could probably speak to this as well after I'm done with this little story. I was training a group of salespeople up in Tennessee, actually. And I said, okay, you're going to get a lead, John Smith. You see that lead in your CRM, pop over here to this console and look up John Smith. And before I could get that out of my mouth, Johnny salesperson raises his hand. I say, yeah, go ahead. And he says, you're telling me I got to go look at another dashboard. And before I could answer, the sales manager who was sitting back there in the back of the room, he comes up to the front. And he says, hey, Johnny, first of all, you don't got to do nothing. You don't got to work here, by the way, either. But you get to look at this information. No one's asking you to go outside and shovel snow off the cars. No one's asking you to go wash cars in 100-degree weather. We're asking you to take your finger and click a mouse and look at this console and look at this information that's available here before you pick up the phone to call this prospect. Because if you know what the prospect wants, Johnny, isn't it going to be easier for you to sell this guy a car if you know he's in love with brand new CRVs? Couldn't you guide the conversation in the right direction? Johnny was like, yeah, thanks, boss. And he sat his butt back down in that chair.
Think twice about commenting again in that meeting.
Amen. So listen, folks, I know that dealers want activity done in the CRM, and I could not agree more. But take the extra couple of seconds to pop over here, click on that customer's name, click right here where it says Insights. By the way, you'll be able to click on some of these other links as well, and there's just a ton of great information that's right here at your fingertips that our team has done such a great job of putting together that you're just not going to find in the CRM. Let this be the supplement to your CRM. Keep doing your work over there, but get your information from right here. Aaron, comments, thoughts, anything about that?
No, I agree 100%. It's like you wouldn't walk into a college exam without studying. And so if you want to get an A, you're going to spend the time to study. And this is no different. You take a few minutes to review, and then that conversation you have with the customer, the friction is gone, and you sound like you know what you're talking about. Hopefully we sound like we know what we're talking about anyways, but it just helps to guide that conversation and really make the product and the experience go hand in hand together.
No doubt.
Aaron, how do you coach people not to be overly creepy with the information in something like this?
Well, yeah, you definitely don't want to say, I know you were on my website looking at these cars. But you could say, based on the information we received, it looks like you're looking for a Honda CRV. Is that correct? Great. And then you can lead the conversation of, is there a particular color you're looking for? We have this, whatever color that one they looked at for time was, we have this black CRV available, can I get you in for a test drive today to take a look at it? And, then they don't know that you've seen that they've looked at the car 4 times. You're just offering up what they're already looking at.
It's almost like you're reading their mind.
Yeah, thanks.
No doubt. I was speaking with Russell Grant, who many of you may know, earlier today, and he was talking about the fact that customers only visit 1.2 websites, or I'm sorry, 1.2 dealerships, numerous websites, 5, 6, 7, 12 websites. They're doing a ton of research online. But when that lead comes in, how are you going to be different than any of those other stores that he submitted a lead to? What's going to help you stand apart? And getting inside your customer's mind and knowing what they're looking at and using, that's your secret weapon. And any dealer that has this that isn't fully using it and taking advantage of it, I think is leaving money on the table, leaving deals on the table, leaving customers unanswered, unserved, unspoken to.
You might get there eventually, but it's a lot longer route. You're kind of going around your ass to get to your elbow when you can just go right to the heart of the matter.
Push the easy button. That's it. I forget, was it Office Max that had the easy button back then?
That was Staples.
There you go, Staples, right? With terrible branding, but I remember the easy button. Let's take a look a little bit further. Here was that guy with the Honda Pilot, with the Honda CRV. You'll also be able to click up here on the artifacts, and you'll see, did he value his trade? No. But did he calculate a payment? He also had another request. We can dive in here. When we keep on going in here and looking further, you're going to see a place where you can view the certificate. What's a certificate? This is a certificate. This is what the customer did while he was on your website. He went in, he found this 25 Honda CRV, he put in all of his information, which obviously I can't click on that right now. It's just a static image. But we showed him, unlike a digital retail tool, and remember, this payments tool is not a DRT, okay? Because for lots of reasons, but that's another webinar in and of itself. But we're showing him his payment range here, right here. And remember, wherever the customer leaves the term is what you're going to see when you open this lead up. He left it right there at 84 months. Please, when you call this customer, meet him right where he was. Hi, Mr. Smith. I see you were on our website. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Looks like you found the 25 CRV and you were calculating your payment. We showed you a number between X and Y. What other questions can I answer for you? Book the appointment, get him in the door. So this is just, again, part of the certificates that come out with the payments tool. Other things that you'll see here, this guy wanted to know, is this car available? He clicked our confirm availability button. Remember, during COVID, when cars were flying off the lots and they weren't around very long, people got very accustomed to asking the question, is this car still there? So this person, in addition to calculating his payment, also went in and confirmed the availability. Aaron, I want you to speak to this in just a second, but we talk about reading the lead. If you just read the lead and say, oh, it's a trade pending lead, it's an auto APR lead, because some of our leads do still show up as auto APR, but it actually is a good thing. If you just look at that and don't meet that customer where he is, you're making him think that you haven't been paying attention, and you're wasting time. If I called this customer back and I said, hi, sir, I see that you calculated your payment, and also it looks like you wanted to know if this 25 CRV was still available. Guess what, sir? Before I called you back, I went outside, I found the car, and I grabbed the keys. I've got these keys right here. How soon can you come in to take a look at it? Oh, you can't make it till tomorrow? I got to put the key. Oh, you can come in today? Great, I'll hold on to those keys, okay? So read the lead, use the information that's in here, and sometimes read what's not in the lead. I love telling this story. I was at a GMC store up in Clearwater, and there was a guy that was looking, and we could see he was looking at five or six, seven different 80 and $90,000 big trucks, the big Denali's and Yukons. He never once calculated his payment. So I asked the team, I said, a guy comes in and looks at these cars over and over again, some of them three, five, seven views at these same 80 and $90,000 trucks, but never calculated his payment. Matthew, Aaron, what does that tell you about the guy? Or Aaron, let's bring it to you. If he's
I
never,
don't think he really wants to buy it if he's not worried about what the payment is.
he's a cash buyer, or he's just going to stroke a check. Doesn't matter. You could tell him the payment's $2,000 a month. He doesn't care. So the payment is not the issue with that customer. But you're only going to know that by reading what's in the lead and again, what's not in the lead. Again, it's all about thinking, what is your shopper doing when they're on your website? And all of this information is right there for you. You just have to read it and use it. Aaron, any thoughts on that?
I think you're right on the money. People don't want to repeat themselves. This helps you to make it where they don't have to.
Exactly. Let's see what else we got coming up here. Hot leads. This is one of my favorite things that TradePending developed. About a year ago or so, we started coming up with these hot leads. Not only can you go to the console anytime you want, but we also are going to tap you on the shoulder, slap you on the face, whatever, to wake you up, grab you by the shoulders and say, hey, these people need to be called today. So for those of you that are not familiar with hot leads, and those of you that heard about them before but may have forgotten, hot leads, each one of these four people have done something today, or yesterday actually. They've actually done three things. You'll see this person here, Mr. R. Mr. R originally became a lead back on October 16th. He came through our payments tool. Doesn't matter whether he was calculate your payment or what's my buying power. You'll dig into that in just a little bit. But we know that he came through back on October 16th originally. The second thing that he did is he was back on the website yesterday. Whoops. He was back on the website yesterday. And the third thing that he did is he had to get all the way down to a VDP. So when one of your shoppers, one of your prospects has done all three of those things, their status gets elevated from lead to hot lead. And we send this email out to you. Anyone at your store who should be getting these hot leads was going to be able to get them. Let's take a look at the next slide. Again, it's just kind of showing what these people are doing and what you can see there. But you're going to want to click on View Customer Details. And that's going to take you right into this page here. And now we can see, here's exactly what this guy's been shopping for. Aaron, you think he wants to buy a black SUV or pickup truck?
Absolutely.
Right? What's his budget, Aaron? Well, how much money does this guy want to spend on a unit?
Somewhere between $30,000 and $38,000.
Are you going to sell a $60,000 truck?
Nope.
Not a chance. You going to sell him a new truck?
No, he's looking at a gently used truck.
Gently used. I mean, he started himself on this one unit with 54,000 miles, and then he kind of kept getting fresher. He came all the way down to this one. But again, I'm going to look over here, and I'm going to see that was the one he's looked at 3 times. And again, he started looking at it 17 days ago and then came back to it 6 days ago. All of this information is there. These hot leads, they're gold. I've got dealer groups that are closing these hot leads between 22 and 27%. Not all my groups, but a group that has about 20 some odd stores, group wide, they're closing these between 22 and 27% at their stores.
That's a ridiculously amazing closing rate.
Money. It's right there. Now, with hot leads, when we do send these to multiple people at the store, please be sure that we don't get this action. Oh, I thought he called. I thought that guy had it. Make sure you have a captain. Make sure there's someone in charge of the hot leads that's either distributing them or calling them, but let's make sure that they get covered. Looks like there's something in the chat there. Matthew.
I'll take a look. Thank you. All righty. Patrick has looked at your video tool yesterday. It's integrated with Vin. Can you get the insights pushed into Vin? It's easier to have one throat to choke. David, you want to take that one?
Not a chance, because that's a product or a dev question. I'll let you handle that one, Matthew.
Yeah, I'll do my best. So the easy answer to that is I'm going to follow up with you, Patrick. I'll shoot you a note afterwards. Thank you for that question.
There you go. Thank you for handling that. Appreciate it. Let's see what else we got coming up today. Who's got access to all of this? Right. In our back-end portal, you at the store, right? Whether you're the internet director, the general manager, please give us the right people to put into this back end to give them that access and put their eyes inside the brains of your customers here. If you sign up with us and we just have the general manager's name and the GM isn't the one following up with these leads, it's not going to be as helpful. But make sure you've got the internet manager. Make sure you've got a couple of your top BDC agents, some of your top sales managers or salespeople, whoever you decide at the store are the people who should have access to all this. And once we do, and we're happy to train the stores. If we can do them in person geographically, it makes sense. We can do it. We will. Otherwise, we can hop on a Zoom call and train the stores also. 15, 20 minutes about reading the lead and using the information that's in this dashboard here so that you can get inside the minds of your customers.
Thank you, David. So I'm going to throw a question your way, Aaron. So I guess one of my core tenets is people, process, product, right? So you have to have great people first. If you don't have that, then everything else kind of falls apart. Then you got to have great process built around whatever tool you're using or plan to use. And then you really need to have a great product. So Aaron, the question for you is when you think about great process, what do you coach people on when it comes to handling leads, working with vendors, and then the follow-up?
Well, in terms of vendors, I'm going to certainly recommend products that I have proven track record with, right? And most of those products are ones that make things easier for the dealership to use on a daily basis. If it's complicated, it's not going to be adopted. The follow through is not going to be consistent over a long period of time. Your suite of products not only works great on the customer facing side, but on the application of the dealership side. So I like to recommend those products because it's easy for a BDC manager. I used to work in a BDC as an agent and as a manager, and we didn't have this at the time. And like, it would have made life so much easier to be able to log in and spend 1 to 2 minutes reviewing a lead before you pick up the phone or type up an email to a customer. A lot of the other products that I work with currently aren't that transparent and don't make things that easy. And, you know, as a marketing person, a lot of the information you guys are putting on every one of those screens is stuff that, as a marketing agent, you have to go through 4 or 5 different channels to accumulate and be able to, follow up with a customer to know the path they took on your website. And, I'm all about simplification, log in, look at it, go to the CRM and call. But the way this works is if a sales manager is looking at it versus a salesperson or a BDC agent, they're all seeing the same information, and then they can all come together, to work that lead and make sure they're converting those appointments and sales.
I'm going to bring some, what I hope, simple math to this whole thing. So there's the objection, which David hit upon, is like, oh, I don't want to have to click into another damn dashboard or look at this other thing. But what is the amount of leads someone would have to be handling on a daily basis for them not to have enough time to do this? Like 100, 200? Like if you're processing 20, 50 leads a day, do you have time to do this? That's kind of what I'm driving at. What's that threshold where like, okay, fine, you're right. You don't actually want to do this because you have 1,000 leads you have to go through every day. Like what's that number?
It probably varies from store to store and like how seasoned the agent is that's working the lead. But I certainly think if the department is adequately staffed and the person's not overburdened, to have that portal logged in while they're there working every day, just click back and forth between a CRM and that is 100% doable. And if I were a BDC agent, I would want that because I could improve my own metrics, so I can hit my personal goals and bonuses by utilizing a product like that versus the small amount of information that gets transferred into a CRM tool.
Have you ever seen it? Yeah, have you ever seen any dealers incentivize people to log into something else like this? So it's like, hey, it's not like you should do this anyway, but we're going to comp you differently. Are they changing pay plans, or is it just here's the process, follow it or get out?
With the trade tool, not as much, but with your Snap Sell program, absolutely. And then I think once they adopt that process and get used to that and see the success they have with utilizing that, it's much easier to adopt those other tools and programs to become part of the regular process. So most salespeople are very savvy and smart. They're going to do what it takes to earn the dollar and make that money. And when they use this a few times and it helps them to get that sale to happen that maybe wouldn't have otherwise, or happen faster so they can move on to the next, the objections go away.
Amen. David, go ahead.
Let me just kind of add on top of that. I had a store that told me a very interesting policy with their video. They're using video for sales. Everybody on day one, access to leads, access to the video tool. And what they did was they used the leaderboard because managers can look at the leaderboard and see David sent out X number of videos, Aaron sent out that many, and Matthew only sent out this many. So what they basically said is if you're in the bottom five, you don't get leads the following week. So it really encouraged people to get on there and stay at the top of that leaderboard and sending out videos. Now, again, this was one store, one small town, but it worked for them. And it got the people to start getting out of their little shells and breaking free and saying, okay, I can do a video. I can hold my phone up and say, hi, Matthew, looking forward to meeting you. And here's the car that you're going to be seeing. Because they didn't want to be in the bottom five. They wanted to stay in that lead rotation. So you can really get creative as a sales manager to encourage people, but the best encouragement comes when it starts at the top. When the GMs, if a dealer principal who's hands-on, when the leadership of the store is sending out videos and the salespeople see, wow, that's what my managers, my directors, my owner is doing. Well, hell, if they can do it, I can too.
So I
Because
think, yeah, we'll kind of wrap it all up here in a bow. So, David, I can't remember exactly how you said it, but it's when you talk about engaging with people and you can speak to them about the things that they are interested in, you're connecting with them like much quicker and on a deeper level, and you're building more trust. And the exact same thing is when it comes to sending a video, you're establishing that personal connection before they even set foot in the dealership. You're building, you're not reading their mind, but now they're actually able to see into yours and who you are as a person. So it's a two-way street of mind reading here, maybe. Maybe I'm stretching there.
stretch, but we got a little off topic there with the video stuff, but Aaron brought it up, and I just thought it made sense to kind of bring that point home. But yeah, and meet the people where they are, but you'll know where they are if you use the data that's right there in front of you.
Wonderful. Aaron, any final thoughts or parting wisdoms?
No, I just think if you're willing to pay to have the product on your website, you're doing yourself a disservice not to utilize the data that is capturing for you. You make your life easier and use what's there, and you'll sell more cars.
Amen. Let's wrap up there. If you need any help with any of this, reach out to us. David, throw that screen back up there real quick. If you
Okay,
got, oh, you know what? Maybe I can do it.
you can do it, right? I stopped
I'll
sharing.
do it. I'll do it. There we go. So we're going to do the whole presentation again. How about that? Let's just blang on through this real super fast because if you've made it this far and you don't yet have your own trade pending wobbly bird, that's our mascot, hit that URL. We will send you one. You have it on your desk. You dunk its head in water and it'll just keep drinking water forever or until it dries out. And if you need to reach out to us, here we are. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, David.